What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome back to The Nerdy Narrative. This is a channel that I use to share with you about all of the many things that I read in case I'm able to help you discover something you might want to read for yourself. Today I am going to be doing the classic book title tag that was created by Ariel from Cuppa Books. This is an original tag that Ariel created recently and she tagged me in it, and I'm just now getting around to it. I am so behind on tags. What I love about this tag is that each of the prompts are based off of well-known classics. Some of them I've read, some of them I haven't, but I've heard about them enough, or I've seen the movie adaptations enough to understand the question and be able to answer with other books. So let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1, A Tale of Two Cities. What two fictional cities or places would you have a hard time choosing between if you were told you would get to move there? And immediately there were two places that came to mind. The first one is Emmonsfield from the Wheel of Time series. And even though the series doesn't stay in Emmonsfield long, we follow a lot of people who are from that village. And I just love the village, the time we did spend there. I love the values and the family and the relationships that were forged there. And we follow many of the characters throughout this very long series. And I just feel like Emmonsfield is home. It's where we start in the eye of the world. And I just formed a connection. I've read this series so many times, and it was the fantasy series that hooked me into the genre way back in the 90s when it first started. I love it. It feels like when I read this book, I am there. The other one is a recent love, and that is The Banished Lands from the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. I love The Banished Lands. Now, The Banished Lands is not just one little town or village. It is many. But we travel all over the Banished Lands, and we do it often enough that I feel like I have a good lay of the land. I love the Banished Lands so very much. John Gwynne did such an amazing job building that world out for me. I feel like I could just literally be supplanted there tomorrow and know my way around and be comfortable and familiar. And again, he developed the characters so well in all of the different places that I just would absolutely love to live there. Question number 2, and I am probably going to butcher this. I normally just say Les Mis, but I'll try it. Les Miserables. Les Miserables. Les Mis. What book made you miserable? For example, you cried, yelled, or threw it across the room. And I know a lot of you probably focused on the cried part and went with Ruin from John Gwynne because that's my go-to. But I actually focused on a book that made you throw it across the room. And there's only one book that I've thrown in the last few years, and that's Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. For those of you who have read this book, it's about the last 150 pages, and it has to do with Pug being reunited with something he thought was gone forever. Turns out it wasn't. And then it is gone forever because Robin Hobb is evil. She is literally the most hateful author. I mean, I love her though. Prompt number 3, Frankenstein. Who is your favorite villain who is maybe just misunderstood? And I'm gonna go with Nye from Winds of Strife. I do not feel that Nye is a villain, but I know a lot of people do. In my personal opinion, he is 100% misunderstood. There are those that just think he's a murderer. There are those who focus on the domestic abuse that he dished out. I just don't feel enough people remember about his mental illness. The man is struggling with madness the whole time. And I personally am of the opinion that someone else is causing it, and his actions are a result of that. But those same actions could also be due to the sorrow and the grief that he himself suffered. He has a very traumatic past. And I could just go on forever about it, but I will stop there and just say, check the cards for the review if you want to hear more about Winds of Strife. Question number 4, Pride and Prejudice. What characters from fiction make up your favorite romantic relationship? This is one I have said time and time again. The answer will never change. That is Richard and Kaylin from Terry Goodkind's The Sword of Truth series. This is the first book, Wizard's First Rule. It is my favorite cover of the whole bunch. I just love it. This is another one of those 90s fantasies that I got into right after I discovered The Wheel of Time. Both The Wheel of Time and The Sword of Truth series I've been with since the beginning, as well as A Song of Ice and Fire. So they each have a very dear place in my heart for different reasons, but my favorite love story between characters in fantasy or otherwise is Richard and Kaylin. For those of you who have read this series, you understand why I chose them. For those of you who haven't, if I told you any more detail, it would be considered by some to be a spoiler. So we'll just leave it with Richard and Kaylin. Question number 5, Lady Chatterley's Lover. What book has your favorite hot and bothered steamy scene? I don't read books, or I haven't yet. I think I have a couple here that are rumored to be a little risque, but as of right now I haven't read any books that probably most of you would consider a hot and steamy scene. But one of my favorites takes place in The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick, and what I love about it, it's not that the characters are getting it on or doing anything with each other. This team of authors just did an amazing job at making the simplest of things so sexy. There are many instances that the authors perform this throughout this book, but my favorite is towards the beginning when our main character Wren meets the Rook, our masked hero, or is he a villain? We don't know. She meets the Rook for the first time. And as a result of some things that happens, she is forced to give him one of her gloves. And that is considered basically getting naked in public in their society. You just don't do that. You do not take your gloves off in public. It is just not done. But oh my word, the way that that scene is written and described, whew, yo. All right, next question. The Count of Monte Cristo, your favorite revenge story. I'm going to dredge up some old hostile feelings in the book community and say The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. A lot of people thought the revenge trope was just overdone, overplayed in this one. I loved it. But to me, it was just straightforward. Nothing got in the way of this character seeking revenge. Nothing. People didn't like that. That's okay. I loved it. Question number 7, Kindred. In your opinion, what is a book that handles emotional stakes best? I am going to go with a recent novella that I read, Only the Stains Remain by Ross Jeffrey. The story that is contained within these pages is a very tragic one. It is all about the remembrance of child abuse that took place in the main character's past, and in his adulthood, the vengeance that he seeks as a result. Ross Jeffrey tackles this very sensitive subject in the most tactful way. He gives you enough information that you're able to understand what is happening without telling you or dwelling on it or being graphic with it. But I will leave it at that. If you're interested on hearing more, I did do a dedicated review for this one. I'll have that in the cards for you guys. Question number 8, and then there were none. What mystery or thriller is your favorite? And this one I have to go with The Goners by L. Stevenson. The Goners is the first book in the Boatmore Butcher trilogy. And as you can kind of guess from the title of the trilogy, it's about a serial killer. But the chapters flip back and forth between the serial killer and our ensemble cast of characters that you just cannot help but get attached to. I just absolutely loved the way that it was laid out, the way that it was written, the style. It was so compelling. I mean, I just couldn't put this book down. It was very addictive. In fact, I had a book hangover for several days after. It's not that any of the other books I picked up after this book weren't good. It's just that I was so addicted to that adrenaline rush of reading about what was happening that I missed it when it was gone. I cannot wait for the second book. Again, this is another one that I loved and did a dedicated review on. So if you are interested in hearing more about this particular book, I will put that in the cards for you as well. So question number 9, The Jungle Book. Who or what is your favorite animal sidekick Mythical creatures count too. Oh my gosh. Had to go with Oi. Oi is a Billy Bumbler, which is sort of a cross between a dog and a raccoon if you go by physical appearance. Oi is amazing. If you are a dog lover, you will love Oi. Oi stole my heart from the first moment I met him, and he still has it firmly within his grasp. I don't see how anybody could read The Dark Tower and not love Oi. Not only is he an animal companion, he is very instrumental. He is important. He is just as important as the other characters that are on this journey in this series. Question number 10, Rebecca. Manderley is a vivid and integral part of the story that feels like another character. What is a book that has a vivid setting that is so real you feel like you are there when you read it? So I kind of have to go back to Emmonsfield for this one because, as I mentioned in question number 1, every time I read it, I said I felt like I was there. I could visualize it. I could see the people, smell the smoke from the chimneys. I love this little village. So I have to have a repeat answer for that one. Question number 11, Call of Cthulhu. What is your favorite horror story that you're glad isn't real? All of them. All of them. They're horror for a reason. They're horrific. Nobody would want any of them to be real. Come on now. And the final question, The Fellowship of the Ring. Everyone needs friends to accompany their journey. Tag some folks to join you. I am going to tag Victoria from A Musical Bookworm. I will also get David Wiley. And then for my third and final, I'm going to get Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics. I'll have all 3 of their channels linked down below if you want to go and check them out and see their version of the tag when they get it up. And in the comments down below, tell me where home is for you from one of your books. Where is the one place that you feel is so real to you or is real to you? I would love to see what you guys have to say, because those may be places I haven't visited yet that I need to get to. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people who are going to say the Shire. That's just almost a given. Alright guys, that is it for this tag. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you soon.